Hello YouTube, it's me, Chaos Nightshade, and as you'll notice, I'm on a Google Plus stream on my own. Last time I did this was that failed Christmas stream that I deleted, but this stream we are going to be covering the anime Another. If this works out, I'll probably be doing it on a weekly, maybe not bi-weekly, week every 2 weeks, something like that. But I just wanted to test this out because I've been wanting to do a video on Another for a while now, and oh, I have it on my own stream, and the sounds start going to my ears. But let's get right down to it. Another is a basic, well, not basic, but it's sort of the what's a good way to describe it as? Gruesome Slaughterhouse would be a good one. Basic story is kind of in depth. Crap. I gotta try to remember the names. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Sorry about this. I'm horrible at remembering some of their names. Okay. Main character, Koichi Sakiba. Yeah, Koichi Sakakihabara. Damn names. But Sakakihabara returns to his hometown, which he hasn't been to since he was a little child. Pretty much since he was born. Now, he's put into the class C1? No, C3. And it's unique class because it has the lingering curse of a student who died so long ago, and now pretty much any student who has died due to this curse is called a dead student. Dead student. That was what I was looking for. So Koichi gets pulled into this, stirring the offset numbers, because what tells you the curse is active is the class will have one extra seat. Now, there is one charm that has a 50-50 chance of working, and that is to pick one person and seclude them from the rest. Pretend they don't exist. Can't even pick on it. You just ignore them. It's the closest thing to have to it, and they only do it for 1 year. When you really think about it, it's not that horrible of a thing since it has worked, but it's also not something you wish on people. This student chosen out is Mei Misaki. Mei, an emotionless girl with one doll's eye, because as a child she lost her eye. So, she is the secluded student out. Koichi doesn't know about this. So, they expect him to already know all that. They couldn't blame him. Nobody blamed him. So, of course, Koichi starts talking to this random girl. So, he's trying to talk to her. She doesn't talk to anybody. He's trying his best. Then he learns about it. So thus, they have to seclude him out in the only attempt they have to try and solve this. Izumi Akazawa. Izumi Akazawa is the I haven't watched this anime in a while, sorry guys, but officer of countermeasures. That was it. Her job is to make sure nothing out of the ordinary happens. It is her job to make sure everything goes well. So it's her job to try and see it all through. Along with it, you also have the class representative, Tomohiko Kazami. Kazami, I think it was. But he's a side character. I just listed the three main ones. You also have Koichi's new best friend, Noya Teshigawara. These names are kind of difficult, actually. He acts as his best friend, along with Yuya Mochizuki. Now, the way this curse is it kills you. But it doesn't, you don't necessarily die very scripted way. You just die. And the ratio is about 1 a month. Now, adding that into it, you're not the only one at fault. Not the only one in danger. Your direct family is in danger. That means your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, direct family is all in danger of this. And the deaths can happen from a multitude of varieties. You can fall from a building and break your neck. You can bleed to death. You can have an aneurysm. You can commit suicide. See, somebody can murder you. All of that is roped into this. That is the point of this curse. That is the problem. Now, when you break it all down, the show has really good animation quality. It has music that fits the scene, including its opening, which sets you in this unsettling tone that just makes you prepared for shit hit the fan. Or, in this case, bowels hitting the fan. You've got the good characters, like, if they're not dying, they're getting a little bit of character development, honestly. Which brings us to the death part. First death of the show, Yukari Sakuragi. Now, that's to be believed that there are technically another death before that. Mei's sister/cousin. But that one is, that was before the show actually started. Yukari Sakuragi is a different story. Her death was the first. Her death, as bad as it was, her death was she ran along and while running, she kind of fell down a flight of stairs and the umbrella lodged itself in her throat. Yep, you know what? I can solve this problem a lot easier. I'll just show you guys. Okay, where is it? Okay, guys. Pretty fucked up, right? Well, that's not the worst. Not by a long shot. Now, next up of the characters we're going to be talking about is where the hell is she? No, that's not her. Yeah, there it is. Sine Mizuno. Now, her thing is that she is a nurse that was helping Sakakibara help work around since he had, I think it was a collapsed lung, I think is what it was. He had like a health problem they had to go to the hospital for. It was something to do with his lungs. So he's constantly having to be careful. Now, Sinai, it was basically there to make sure he was doing well. So, as such, he calls her up every once in a while to talk, all that. And she has to keep an eye on him, make sure he's doing well, make sure his whole lungs aren't hurting it right now. Now, the problem with it is she is enveloped in the curse. Not because of her relationship with Sakakibara, but her little brother is in class C3C. This is who the next death is. Death by a falling elevator, which is very gruesome. So
屋上からエレベーター乗ったの。そろそろ戻らないと。でもこれ。
Yep, that was a death. But it's not the most gruesome. It is by far the most shocking to be so early, because this was about episode 4 for that death. Now, the death sequences are all very well pointed out. That you always have to keep everyone in fact that nobody is safe. And you start to grow on some of these characters. Like Yukari, but when she died, it was like just so stunning because she actually had very much promise. You had to focus on her. We should have focus on her for like a few seconds. It should have told you that bitch was gonna die. Yeah, but she's not a bitch, but still. Now, you have an entire class of about 20 students, I believe, roughly. Now, then you also have the teaching staff. You have Mikami Sensei, Kubadara Sensei, and Tatsuchi Shibiki. Now, the key to Tatsuchi Shibiki is he's not a teacher for this show. Kubadara Sensei is the teacher. Mikami Sensei is the assistant teacher, while Tatsuchi Shibiki is the librarian. How does he fit into it, you might ask? Tatsuchi Shibiki is actually one unique person because he is the first teacher under this curse. He was teaching when the curse began, and he lived through it. But now he feels guilt because he lived through it, that he has to try and make sure everybody knows what's happened. Try to figure out every identity of the dead student. Everything they can. If they succeed, they mark down this person and keep it going. We have also other interesting side characters, like Reiko, the aunt, his good old Sakikabara's aunt. Though she looks more like his cousin, honestly. But it's key to point out that she was from a cursed class, a year that was cursed. She was in class 3C. During this time, Sakakibara's mother came in. Yeah, guess what? When her mother came in, it kind of got bad because curse envelops direct family. His mother died because of the curse. So it was key to note that. Now, Reiko was a survivor of her class here. Keep that very much in mind. Next up on the chopping block is Kubadara Sensei, who was caught up in this curse as well. This was the most gruesome death so far. So, yeah. Time to go back to... sorry about that. I got deaths mixed up. What was that guy's name? He was a side character. He dies of a heart attack. Heart problems and all that. Where the hell is he? Okay, Ikuo Takabayashi. He dies because he has heart problems, and yeah. Sorry about that. I got death order mixed up.
Misaki Mei wa Takabayashi-kun! Takabayashi-kun!
Now, that one, I got it mixed up. I completely forgot he died before the teacher, but his whole thing is he has a heart problem, tends to affect him in gym class mainly, etc., etc. He never got much character development. Now, if you noticed every time I was moving my mouse, we're only 1 minute 58 seconds in. There's 10 minutes and 23 seconds of death. And for a, was it 14? It was about 13 to 14 episodes. That's pretty decent considering they averaged about, when you break it down, from episode 3 onward, they averaged about a death an episode. About, not exactly. Now, that being said, now we have Chibiki Sensei. Wait, what was his name? Hold on. Did I say his name right? No, Kubadera Sensei. Yeah, his is the most gruesome for that time period. At least for a little bit anyway. But let's Now, you might be asking as to why they didn't freak out during it. That's the shock factor encountered in it. Is that the shock factor was actually there. Is that each one was scared of what was about to happen. They weren't completely sure. They were scared of whether they were going to die or who was going to die. But they knew the curse was active at that point. So, they kept that in mind. And unfortunately, were forced to watch their teacher commit a very painful suicide. Like, I can understand hanging yourself. How do you get the idea to stab a butcher's knife through your neck, out the back, probably breaking his spine, dude? Nah, it at least went by this way. No. Actually, no, by the way that put out, that should have gone out through his spine. So he snapped his neck with it. I think. If I placed it all right, he should have snapped his neck, which meant he would have fallen sooner. With the knife still embedded in his throat. Then, of course, there's when he ripped the knife out, that geyser of blood. Now, all of these deaths, it is key to note. Next one, the curse has a radius limit. It's secluded to their town, which I forgot the name of, because it's been like a few months since I watched this. But it's this one town. The entire city limits is the limit of how far the curse can reach you. It's key to point out they're outside of town. I'll explain after the death, but you need to see. Now, the parameters of the curse means he should not have died that way. He died outside of the city limits. What could this mean? Could it mean that the curse can actually reach farther? Does it mean the curse is getting worse? Actually, no. He, in a rush, in order to get out of town and have fun with his friends before he might have died, he rushed down the stairs and hit his head. Now, you might think, that wouldn't be so bad, except when you consider that when he hit his head, it began a small little action of a brain aneurysm forming in him. That aneurysm started the ticking time bomb. He was dead before he left his house. So he died. Technically, was on his deathbed. He died before the boat hit him. that boat didn't kill him. It was a shock factor in there. And you notice that you get like two images out of that are very gruesome. It's not near as gruesome as the teacher killing himself. I mean, you do get to see the arm kind of severed if you manage to stop the frame just right. Let me try and find his name, though. Yeah, sorry. There's a lot of students. It's kind of difficult to keep track of all of them sometimes. Sorry if I'm taking up time here. Okay, let's see if I can find this guy now. Junta? Yep, that is Junta Nakao. Now, he went out to grab the volleyball and all that. They're having fun on the beach and everything. That's when that happened. Now, it's key to point out here that the officer of countermeasures is very angry at what's happening here. She can't do anything to stop it. Now, you might ask yourself, who is she angry at? Well, why would she be mad? Is she mad at Sakakibara for breaking the charm? No. She's not mad at Sakakibara in the least. She's mad at Mei for not managing to keep it. But then you gotta think, Sakakibara broke the charm. If it would have worked, Sakakibara broke it. Because he started talking to the Sakura soon. Even then, it was a 50-50 shot. You had no guarantee you were going to survive this. So she has an irrational anger towards it. Her death isn't yet, but she was there. And the girl you saw screaming, her name is Takako Sugiura. Sugiura plays her part later on, and we hate her for it. Because she goes psycho. Anyway, having that finished, now we enter a flashback scene because there is another way to solve this charm. There is another thing that's more successful than the charm. And it's only been succeeded once when the curse was stopped halfway through the school year. And only one man knows. Katsumi Matsunaga. Now, these two scenes are his flashback scenes. These bits in death are his flashbacks. So, yeah. They're pretty bad, but they're not near as bad as the ones you've been seeing so far. So, going over to Ceramix, sharing screen. Let's prepare for more death. It's gonna be fun for the whole household. Now you...
周到に傘なんか持ってきてて一人刺してたんだ。山道で雷雨だってのにその浜口が俺の前を歩いてたんだが一瞬視界が真っ白になってさ同時にすごい音がしたんだ。雨の中を闇雲に走り出したすぐ後だった。二人目の犠牲者が出たんだ。星川って女子だった。パニックって走るうちに足を踏み外して崖から落ちちまって。
Yeah, I forgot this bit. Another one also dies while flashbacks are going on. What is his name? His name is Atsushi Ogura. Now, Ogura here is the older brother to one of the girls in this middle school classroom, so he is just as marked for death. Yeah, I'd forgotten that his death was side by side with the flashbacks. Sorry about that. Time to go back to your death sequences now.
高い崖で下山して助けを呼ぶしかなかったんだ。結局二人とも助からなかった。
Yeah, this was the start of a death-a-palooza. I forgot about this one too. It's another girl and her parents. I forget the girl's name, but she is trying to escape the city before her and her family die, because her family knows the curse just as well as she does. So yeah, this is about a 4-death combination.
兄貴。
Now, some people might say the porn is bad for you, but that's not the context I mean by it being bad for you. That needed to be said. But, yeah. The thing about these deaths is it gets more and more intense as you go along. That you end up just starting to get used to the death sequences popping up here and there. You're used to your favorite characters in the show dying. That you're waiting to see who's next. Now, these characters that died were fairly side this time. It wasn't a main known character who had time. Because so far you've only had two. You've had three, my bad. You've had about 3 characters that were playing their parts in the story die very gruesomely. And that was Yukari, the teacher, and of course, the nurse. So yeah, that's 3 characters so far. You felt we're gonna play more and just get straight up killed. Now you might ask yourself, well, how was Sakakibara Misaki doing this? Mei is dealing with this rather easily because she knew it was coming. It's key to point out that that doll's eye she has, there's supernatural stuff here as well. And that doll's eye she has is capable to see what she calls the color of death. When somebody is close to death, or is at death's door, she can see like some sort of color around them. This associates as the color of death. Because every time she sees it, the person dies. No exception. Each person that's been enveloped by this curse has that color around them. That's key to point out. But it's not quite yet. Sakakibara knows about this. They're trying to find pictures to show her so she can see the color of death on something. Now, you've got all of this stuff going on. It's getting worse. The curse is picking up in intensity when you really think about it. So you're asking yourself, how are we going to deal with this? How are they going to survive? Because you don't honestly believe that the show's going to end by killing off every single one of them and their family members, right? Well, next one was, what was the next death? So, yeah. This one is the final death of Matsunaga's year. Enjoy.
それで気がついた時にはあいつ動かなくなってたんだ。森の中のでっかい木の下に倒れてて、近寄ってみたら木の枝が突き刺さってて。
Now, you might be curious, how does that one work in? It looked like he just fell, he looked disgusted. You come across those guys all the time, right? Well, here's the thing. He got in a disagreement with that specific student over the whole incidents. He shoved him, and when he didn't wake up, he looked down at the body and saw they had killed the guy. He ran off to try and distract himself from it. Then he ran back later on, and the body was gone. Nowhere to be seen. That doesn't fall in the parameters of the curse. It was this point that he went around asking people what happened to him. Nobody had heard of this guy before. The dead student, the key to dealing with this curse is to send the dead student back to death. Now you might be asking yourself, how does that work? Wouldn't you just be killing randomly? Yes! It's a leap of faith. And Mei Misaki is the only one who can find the dead student. Only one. Now, what you saw there is called Part 2, The Manor. It's referred to as the second half of this short series because the most death happens in this 5 minutes. And this manor is a development of about 4 episodes. So yeah, you're about to watch a lot of deaths. So yeah, sweeping back over. Yep, wrong one. Yep. Enjoy!
聞いた。まだ一人で聞くのが怖くって。前島君、逃げないと。
Now, here's the thing. You see that guy, you're just like, who is that guy and what does he have to do with this? That guy happens to be, that guy and his wife run that manor. They also happen to be the biological grandparents of one of the students. Keep that in mind that they are direct family. His wife went crazy, killed him, now loose on a killing spree, and lit a room on fire to try and hide the evidence. So yeah, she is psycho. Now, that's only about 6 minutes in. And you already got that overkill. So you might be asking, what next? Well, sit back and watch, people.
滑るから気をつけて。いた。師匠、死ね。
Now raises the question is, why did she try killing Meg? Well, the thing is with this is a certain psycho bitch who you saw scream, a certain, oh, what was her name again? Crap, what was her name? Not her. Crud, glasses chick. Where the fuck are ya? But the girl you saw there was Agura's younger sister. You know, guy killed in front of his own freaking computer. Oh, there it is. Takako Sugiura. Now, what does she have to do with this? Well, she happens to be Izumi Azawa's best friend. And the two had been talking about Mei Misaki. How Izumi had remembered a certain Misaki in one of her classes. Now then you're curious, okay, why? She went to school with May. No, she didn't. May had a twin sister who, because her aunt couldn't have a child and her mother could only take care of one, her aunt adopted her sister, thus her cousin. Now, keeping that in mind, she looks almost exactly like May, except she had two real eyes. May has had a doll's eye since she was 4. Considering that this Misaki went to elementary school with Izumi, she just assumes that it's Mei Misaki. And she believes she might have found the dead student, but she needs evidence. Takako doesn't need the evidence. She believes she's found it. She believes she knows how to deal with it. She listened to the tape and heard how to end this. But what's wrong is she doesn't have the right student. She doesn't have the dead student. She's trying to kill somebody and help propagate the curse. Now, that wouldn't be as bad if it was just her. Nope. Because of her failed attempt to kill Mei by Sakakibara's efforts to stop her, she put onto an intercom, "We have found the dead student, Mei Misaki. Me and Izumi remember a certain Misaki in one of our elementary school classes. But she had 2 real eyes. Mei has had a doll's eye since she was 4. That doesn't sound right. She must be the dead student. The trick to it, and she played how to deal with the dead student. You kill the dead student, returning them to death. But then, how do you do that? You've got among 20-some odd people, because the dead student is directly involved in that classroom. So you have over 20 people to test to see which one is the dead student. Next death is in accordance with that again, though this one is an explosion. Enjoy. Now here's your question, I know. Why did he get enveloped by all that fire? We gotta remember what Sakaki Bauer did when he saw the fire. When he saw the fire and corpse, he shut the doors. He tried warning people that there was a fire. Some people were like, well, where's the fire? I hear it. It's coming from the dining hall. And you gotta remember, oxygen deprivation. That fire wasn't gaining a necessary amount of oxygen to flourish, but it was still functioning because it had enough oxygen to live. Now then, you get the second the door is open, a bunch of air rushes in there. Oxygen fuels fire. The fire envelops and lets it all out in a minor form of an explosion. I'm drinking B8. Now, then you might be curious, well, okay, that happened. What's next? Well, sit back and watch. Because I honestly don't remember the exact order of deaths in this, honest. Yeah, I'd forgotten that death was next. That is, in my opinion, the most gruesome death out of all of them. Because, okay, you might be asking, how did it end up in that situation? Well, about half that class is hunting down May to kill her. Because they believe she is the dead student. That one was the spearheaded psycho bitch. Now, because of this, she tried killing May. Didn't succeed. As you saw, she got enveloped in the curse herself. In the most gruesome death in the show, in my opinion. And that says something, but it's because you don't see the neck being ripped open. You see her hanging for a second, choking, but she's struggling. Those are wires holding her there. Wires have those edges are made of metal, mostly, and they're digging into it. As she's struggling, they're digging deeper and deeper. Not only is she suffocating, but her neck's being ripped open. As you saw by the skin and blood going everywhere. It's because of that imagery that makes it so disturbing. It's left to the imagination of what the wound is like. Now, of course, you do get a sight of it, but you really don't get anything. I don't think they put much effort into actually putting art style into it. Because they weren't expecting people to focus on it. They made it most disgusting and most frightening as she was being hung. Now, next one up. Now, before we go on to the next death, it's good to point out that Izumi saw her friend being hung, and now is on the assumption that May is indeed the dead student. Now, it's by this point, May actually knows who the dead student is. It is off to hunt them down. But I'll save that death until we reach to it. Now it's on to the next death. Now those deaths were pretty good. Like, just one is like a poof. The second one is, you kind of saw it coming when she was standing in front of a freaking fire. Now, as for the third sequence there, the girl that just got a knife shoved into her back. Earlier in the show, when they were at the manor, the best friend character, Naoya, assumed that one of his friends, because his memories weren't adding up to it, one of his friends, Tomohiko Kazumi, the class representative, must have been the dead student. So they got in an argument he wanted to dispute it. He tried killing him. It didn't work. He shoved him out of the top. He shoved him out of the second floor. Didn't kill him. Thus, he wasn't dead student. Also, the curse still would have gone on if he was. Tomohiko was mad, but he understood. It's the dead student that was causing all this. He had to find this dead student and kill him. Or her. He's on a right trail, but he's killing the wrong people. He's killing indiscriminately because he's too scared to die himself. Now, that one he aimed at, that girl that he just threw a knife into her back, I can't remember which one she was. Or was it her? Okay, yep. Kyoko Kaneki. Or Kaneki, however you say it. Kyoko there, he was trying to remember her, but he couldn't remember her properly. So he decided, you are the dead student. You must die. He killed her. Only that when she died, all memories stayed. And he was like, you're not the dead student. I think I know who is. He goes from Kyoko to killing another student. You'll see. Time for the continuation of the Another Death sequences. Now this one, we go back to the crazy grandmother. So, enjoy. Now with her, she's not trying to kill the dead student, she's just trying to kill. She's completely lost her mind. The curse has warped her mind into believing that the entire world's dead. She's just in a murderous rampage because the curse has twisted her mind. As such, she's too dangerous to leave alive. So that teacher there, the one who accompanied them, he's not technically their teacher, so he's not within the parameters of the curse. But he is there, trying to save them. And he knows that woman is more dangerous than she's worth now because of how the curse has twisted her mind. She's lost her mind. She's not trying to do anything but kill. So as such, we go on to the next death sequence. Key to point out that Chandelier, that wasn't the end of some of the deaths, so keep that in mind. Let's continue. Yeah, you had a chandelier fall on you. It was only to be expected you were going to die, so he was trying to make a break for it. All of them are too scared to die. You can't really blame him on that either. But so far, death count is riling up. In this short anime, you have so much death. Though it's not as big as, like, say, Game of Thrones, but that's also have more episodes to work with. So we're on to the next death sequence. Are you ready? Let us go. Matsui-san!
榊原君、この子のこと覚えてる。
Now that death, everybody, was because he had assumed she might be. Might. He didn't stop the thing she had seen him kill. So as such, in his demented mindset, he does have a noble goal he's trying to do. He's trying to stop the deaths. But he's not thinking of it properly. Granted, he doesn't have the time to think of it properly. He has almost died himself. Now, you also saw there that that one actually broke the neck, which you've never seen before. You never heard the neck actually crack when somebody was saying something through a neck. So yeah, let's keep point that out. Next one, he has come to the conclusion that it must be Sakakibara because he was the last one to join in. Because he doesn't believe the first death was in Mei. The first death being Mei's sister. He believes that one was a coincidence. He believes Sakakibara's arrival began the deaths. So let us go to this death sequence. You have about 2 minutes left of death. Now, it is honestly believed that Izumi there actually does like Sakakibara, which is why she doesn't kill him or assume in any way he's the dead student. But she tries to kill that guy. But she doesn't technically. That one hit begins the process of death already because this caused brain damage and brain hemorrhaging. As such, you have to keep that in mind when he's dying. So he's not immediately dead. She started the time clock. She didn't kill him, though. She started the process of him dying. So she couldn't be held responsible. She had to stop the guy from killing one of her friends. What was the... Oh. We're on the last 2 deaths, everybody. Now, this next death is a character that hit kind of home for me. It's kind of a sad one, because albeit she's lost it, she's still a good character. Watch and maybe not enjoy. Sorry. Now, I forgot to do the stereo mix there, but you kind of got the message there. Mei has been cornered by Izumi. Izumi seeks to end it because Izumi is now on the assumption and belief Mei is the dead student. Where she started to halt it, to try to look for evidence. Because of the death of her friend, she is now stuck on this belief because her friend died trying to kill Mei. She is in a deluded state. Now dead. Now you might be curious though. Why is it she was so protective of Sakakibara? The way it looked is Sakakibara should have held just as much possibility as Mei. Well, truth be told, Sakakibara there? Sakakibara was true. He wasn't that student. But Izumi held a memory that Sakakibara didn't. Neither one of that student. Keep that in mind. But this memory was that she had just lost her brother. Her brother dead. We believe because of the curse. We are not completely sure on that. So then, after this, dealing with the loss, up comes Sakakibara. He tells her he too has lost somebody he cares about. But then you're curious, like, when? He doesn't have this memory. He doesn't ever remember this. Does this mean Izumi is the dead student? Because it starts to feel that way. No, she is not. Her memory is 100% true. Sakakibara's memories have been altered. It's the dead student's way of living. In order to keep you from immediately finding them, because it is from the dead repertoires of all the others, they alter memories. They may be curious. Why was Sakakibara's altered? Last Death tells you everything. Enjoy.
Sayonara. Reiko-san. Sayonara.
Now, for those of you who had been paying attention earlier, I had mentioned Reiko. Reiko is his aunt. Reiko is also a teacher. Miss Mikami, the assistant teacher for Class 3C. You might be curious as though, okay, how is that bad? She hid her identity that Reiko was indeed Miss Mikami. Here's why. Miss Mikami died years ago in the curse because she was the teacher of Class 3C. Murdered, and May saw it. May had always seemed something off was about Miss Mikami. The fact that there was an assistant teacher when no other class had one. The fact that when she looked at her without the eye patch, Reiko was covered in the color of death. Yet she didn't die. So it raised questions as to, okay, why? Reiko is the dead student. It's not secluded to just the dead student. Remember me saying that it enveloped all who were killed by the curse? That's true. Teachers are just as enveloped in that curse. And if you die because of this curse, you have a possibility of becoming one of these dead students. As such, May knew that the only way at this point to deal with it was to kill Reiko. Sakakibara was forced to accept it. His aunt, trapped there. She was stuck, and everything pointed to her. Another good point was that Sakakibara's grandparents, his surviving grandparents on his mother's side, Tami Mikami and Ryohei Mikami. The two of them are quoted as saying, well, at least the grandfather has been quoted as saying, my poor Reiko. They have a bird named Rei that Reiko hates, because that bird was bought in her memory to help them console after the death of their last child. Both their children have been killed. All they left is with one grandson. One. So you're left, you think, why? What would there be to gain from this now? Everything has just fallen out of everything. There's nothing left for them. What is left? Well, it's quite simple. They had a reason to keep living. And because of Reiko's return, they had a somewhat more reason to live. Yet there was still the combining memories of the fact they knew they had lost her. But they just knew she was still there. So they were consoled a little bit, but their sadness was still ever relevant. Keeping all of this in mind, everything just goes downhill for these characters. But immediately after Reiko's death, the entire show takes a turnaround in its feeling. It suddenly goes from this dark, ominous feeling of death to a pretty lighthearted feeling for the last 10 minutes, roughly. That's about it. You get like 10 minutes of lightheartedness. Because at the very start of this fucking series, it had a dark tone. You had the ominous feeling something was going to happen. From moment one. Now, Like I said, on my rating scale, the characters have great development. The characters go out fairly brutally. I give the all-around characters a 10 out of 10. For the animation quality, I've been weighing it. It's an animation quality that works really well for it. It's not over the top. It's not a Fate Stay Night level. But I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. For the storyline progression, I give it a 10 out of 10 because of how linear they keep it. They keep it centered on this one storyline. They don't branch off. They keep it as linear as possible. They do add some stuff to make it more interesting, but there's no branching off. Like, oh, we're dealing with this guy. Let's go deal with this. All of it is centered in a high school life. So the story doesn't even have filler to distract you. What you describe as filler is actually par for the course. The music has its ominous feeling and very darkness. For those who have seen the opening, you will agree is that the opening is ominous and with points where it's just like, ugh. It's not creepy, but it sends chills up your spine the first time you see it. For that, the music gets a striking 10 out of 10 due to how well it sticks out and how well it works for its atmosphere. Remember my overall enjoyment of the show? I had an actual good time watching it, and I'm not usually into the big gruesome stuff. I mean, there's been like a few I've liked, like Elfen Light, well, same with another. And I'm going to throw this out there, Higurashi. The English dub was horrible, but in Japanese dub, it is actually a very good experience. I never watched all of it, but from the bits I've seen, it's creepy. And people try to tell me yanderes are involved in it. No, it's not. I will get involved in a discussion on the dere types at another point in time. But I think I've been rambling on enough. You have my review for another. For the whole thing of another, I would rate it a... I've never heard its dubcast, but I would say definitely watch it. It is currently streaming on Crunchyroll. You can go ahead and go there now to watch it. Yeah, that covers about all of it. The next video I'm going to be doing when I do another anime discussion, because this was actually pretty good. I will be doing a Log Horizon anime discussion next week if I have the time. At same time Wednesday, roughly. I think this makes it anime discussions on Wednesday. Yeah, I'm going to make it this way. But, yeah, thanks to my one viewer for coming to see this. I will be talking about Log Horizon on the next one. I would talk about Nice Koi, but it's got Season 2, and I'll wait until that's done before I ever talk about it. But, yeah, enough rambling. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and go check out my friends Walker Free Puns on the FNON channel. No, Brandon doesn't have anything. Johnny Guy on his channel, and H Hysteria for a few AMVs to occupy your time. Yeah, that covers all the plugins. I'll say it again. Thank you for tuning in. I've said that way too many times in this video. And until next time, see ya.